Bright and early right here on Channels Television. Welcome to the Morning Brief. I'm Jeffrey Ozama. Because I took the words out of your mouth, so you cannot continue.
But it's okay. Of course, Wednesday comes with a lot of promise, with cool, calm weather, and of course, a lot of good tidings, hopefully. And we'll start off with those good tidings by welcoming you to your perfect morning starter right here on Channels Television. I am Bukola Koka, always blessed amongst two gentlemen.
Put your hands together for her. 15 days to Christmas. Exactly.
I'm
21 days.
Christmas.
This one I'm counting down. I'm going to stop
yeah.
from tomorrow. But 21 days to the end of 2025. Good morning and welcome. I'm Kayode Okikulu. Guys.
Gale of defection, nothing surprising. So for full disclosure, we're expecting 2 more to defect to the APC. That may naturally bring the APC's number to almost 30, if not 30. I'll zoom my analytics. I'm still working on a few data behind the scene. Predominantly first-time governors who are seeking re-election. Whether that was why it was easy to be able to convince, coerce, or they didn't have the liver to fight the battle within their own political party. These things look like they are not important, but eventually you realize, I think the only second-term governor we've seen so far, to the best of my knowledge, I stand to be corrected, I think it should be Bayelsa State Governor. But literally, the Northwest, for instance, all of the governors are first-time governors. The South, for instance, literally all of them apart from Bayelsa. So literally everybody that has been flipping the page has been first-time governor. So maybe that's where there's a lot that's been going on behind the scene that nobody can talk about. Well, Accord Party is now the new home of Mr. Adeleke, the governor of Osun State. I'm sure he fought his battle. Perhaps, maybe he wanted to go to the APC, but it didn't work out. Those full disclosure will be found out later.
No, he wanted to.
Yeah,
yes,
so
indeed.
It didn't work out.
Recall that meeting with the president.
Yes, within the APC of Osun State, I don't think they wanted him, perhaps, and then they fought it out. But this is where we are. PDP is now about 4 or so states. I think the ones that...
They have 5 now left.
Yeah, well, I'm not counting one. I'm counting Adamawa, I'm counting Bauchi, I'm counting...
Plateau, Oyo, and Zamfara.
I'm not counting Plateau.
No,
I'm counting Zamfara.
Officially.
Yeah, officially, yes. Because Plateau is literally on his way out of the party from the feelers we get. So that's where we have found ourselves as far as political parties are concerned. Me, I can't wait for all of them to choose their struggle. Maybe Nyesom Wike too should just defect, since his political godson has also defected. Fubara's defection is not a surprise to anyone, except you're not following the event. He's been encircled since he's been incapacitated, so he really has only one choice. But I can tell you something is brewing that I can't reveal, but we hope there's not going to be any crisis. But the days ahead are quite interesting as far as the political parties and party politics is concerned in Nigeria. So APC is doing well in terms of politics. Getting members is a big deal. But we'll do all of these analytics later. But what we want to see is good governance, not all of this movement as it is. Because none of these governors can look me in the face and tell me, I did it for the interest of my people. I'm sorry, Boala didn't like me when I say it's a lie. I can also tell that governor, you're lying. You're doing it for self-preservation. You're doing it for your political future, and there's no crime in it.
Fair point.
Stop.
And I think this is the point where we need to look Nigerians in the eyes. How did I say that, right?
In the eyes. Okay, me, I say in the face, Abby.
Yes, so I need to zero down to the eyeballs right now and ask, are you APC? And I'll explain. Looking at Nigeria's political map, guys, majority of the states are APC, except 5 officially that belong to the PDP, 1 to NNPP in Kano, 1 to ABGA, and 1 to Labour Party in the southeast. The other states are APC. So it would look like the most popular political song in Nigeria right now is On Your Mandate We Shall Stand. Why? Because for those governors who have defected, there's been no impeachment process. Because if the people are not okay with it, they will tell their representatives in the State Assembly to impeach the governor who is going against their will. But if there's anything we've seen total support from change of flags to all-round defections. So it looks like majority of Nigerians are APC. So let us know, let's be clear. It's not for you to say one thing online and behind the scenes, you're saying another thing, except Nigerians feel helpless and they're just afraid to really take a stand and call to question those that represent them. in those state assemblies?
Well, you landed on the very important point, which is helplessness. There's a seeming helplessness, amongst Nigerians, or maybe a sense of resignation and disillusionment as far as politics and politicking is concerned. You talk about if they're not quite happy about the gale of defections, why not, call their state assemblies to account and demand answers, if possible, a recall. But you and I know that even that process is, greatly bedeviled by a lot of political undertones, and we have antecedents to that effect, to prove that it's a process that is almost impossible to achieve because you're up against the establishment. Whether Nigerians are APC or not, we'll find out in 2027. But Nigerians also must decide, what their future is. And this is speaking to Nigerians that often sell their votes during electioneering processes on election days when voting is ongoing. And we have a lot of evidence, from election archives to prove that indeed there's a lot of vote buying that goes on. Now, let's go back to the defections. Governor Adeleke of Osun State defied all of our expectations. Everyone had thought that, hey, he was going to the All Progressives Congress. But I'm wondering, gentlemen, if, his resort to a court party had anything to do with a very contentious local government administration in Osun State. I recall the battle for the offices that saw violence, where some council officials were killed. They had to pay the ultimate price. And I recall a conversation that we also had here between the PDP and the APC in that state, and the PDP was quite categorical, rather the APC was quite categorical that they didn't want an administration that had its hands soiled. But perhaps there's more wrongdoing to go around all the participants in that fracas that saw violence, over local government administration in the state. And so for Governor Sim Fubara, well, we all expected this one. It was going to come. It was inevitable. But is it true? Can we believe him when he says that his party abandoned him when he needed his party the most at his most trying times? Jeffrey, I recall that governors of the PDP went to court, but that case didn't quite progress, up until the lifting of the state of emergency. So will all things now end well as far as politics is concerned? Will the remaining state assembly members who are still in the PDP now defect to the APC after Governor Fubara's defection? I'm not quite sure that even this your celebration is heartfelt, as Governor Fubara is welcome to the APC fold. It's been too much, of a sacrifice, too much of his pride given away over the last couple of months that has saw this Pyrrhic victory, in my view. Two words marks politicians: subservience to power and self-preservation. And I always try to say to whoever cares to listen, there's nothing wrong with self-preservation. Well, he said the PDP didn't, maybe at the initial point, the PDP didn't come true for him, but it's his battle. He knew what he was getting himself involved in. Maybe he didn't know he hadn't built political stature to be able to stand people, somebody like Nyesom Wike, who has grounded and surrounded him literally until he had to surrender. But let's see how he progresses. As I said, the factor of first-term governors who haven't really built political stature is also a critical thing. Yeah, so perhaps if they were second-term governors, this movement, or they would have been able to fight Nyesom Wike and his people in the PDP, who the other side, the Sheikh Makindes and Bala Mohammed, see as the problem of PDP. But me, I always say, as long as they're not killing themselves. So there is no, see, whether they fought for you, they don't fight for you. Whether you're doing it in the interest of your people, nah. The most important thing is that the only first-term governor that has not made any move and doesn't look like he's going to make any move is Zamfara, Dawuda Lawal.
He's the only first-time governor. So we will look at all the entities, as they call it in database management system, to do analytics, to be able to give the politicians what we see playing out in our politics. But it's interesting days ahead.
I must
Taraba
mention.
ahead.
No,
Taraba has already gone.
Yeah.
It's just a date.
January.
It's just a date.
Yes.
Plateau is gone. Plateau is just a question of putting last-minute touches and all of that. So those are the two for now that I can say. But the other ones, Bauchi, for instance, is not going anywhere. Shey Makinde. So Zamfara seems to be solid. Doesn't seem like he's going anywhere.
You never know, though.
It seems to be solid. That's
I must mention, guys, the flyer of Governor Ademola Adeleke announcing his defection to Accord Party. If you look at that flyer, you see the vehicle that was used is facing one place. The governor is facing another place. So I need to say, this is in terms of optics,
branding.
Right? Come on, you have to make the governor face the same place. Don't make it look like the governor is heading one place and the Accord Party is facing another. You see, the road to 2026, right? That vehicle, which I think is a Honda Accord, it's facing one place and the governor is facing another. Come on.
But Kayode and Jeffrey, it is quite significant that Governor Ademola Adeleke still had to defect. You know, it's one thing that you were going to defect to the All Progressives Congress out of a sense of security and stability to secure your 2027. As Jeffrey always says, this is about self-survival. But to defect to a pretty, a party that has less visibility than even, the People's Democratic Party, which was his home political party, is quite significant. And it's a message to the People's Democratic Party that if a governor could take all of his political structure to a party that is less known than the PDP, then the PDP has quite lost everything that made it the sterling political party, the political party that held sway for 16 years, and that was the go-to party in terms of fielding political aspirations for a very long time in this country. The Accord Party, the PDP should be doing a lot of thinking. One of the 19
political parties in Nigeria. Big or small, is inconsequential right now. I
know the Accord Party is going to come for me.
At the end of the day, if you ask me, somebody like, you know what I really want to see? Everybody should just defect to wherever they want to defect. Let's know who is where. Don't be an internal spoiler. Just go so that everybody, if PDP is left, because we are shouting, PDP had this level of stature before now. They almost had 30 governors one time in Nigeria. So this is APC's third. Let me say it for the record so that I can be quoted. When APC will lose election, I'm not saying if, because they will lose election someday. When they will lose election, these same people, just please snap them. Snap all of them. God helping us to be alive and well. Snap all
Amen.
of them. You still see them move to whichever party would win the APC. So don't keep my message. See my message. You're a young man. Don't carry these politicians on your head. Carry it on your shoulder. So when it's heavy, you drop it and run away. Don't die for anybody.
Or if you're a young woman as well.
Yeah.
So let's get right into what we have on the show today. We're still following developments in Benin Republic, particularly from home. There's been that incident in Burkina Faso as well. So now that the Senate has okayed deployment, well, the back and forth between Nigeria and Burkina Faso during that ferry trip by the aircraft. We'll take a look at Nigeria's security situation yet again, but this time from the angle of the Benin incident and the Burkina Faso incident on the show today.
Absolutely, and we will talk about the good news from Niger State. Yes, we have so far 150 children and students released from abductors. We still have about 115 from the data from government. We hope that we can get all of them back to be reunited with their families. So we're talking with Khan. And then from there, we move on to all of the defections, from Ademola Adeleke's defection, Bukola, to the one that doesn't surprise all of us. This is, anyway, Ademola Adeleke defecting, then Fubara eventually defecting to the All Progressives Congress.
And so we'll get to feel the pulse of, the politicians in those states and know how they're receiving the defection of their elected representative being the governors of those states. So stay with us for those ones. And we'll begin the very first leg of our conversation after this time out. We'll be right back.
We bring in Igor Akerega. He is a member of the Nigerian Guild of Editors. He joins us for the papers as we review what exactly is played out. If we can catch him, we'll do that. But let's see how it goes. Mr. Akerega, good morning and welcome to the program. We just have about 7 minutes to run this. The Guardian newspaper is where we'll start off from. The Guardian is leading with the faces of the new defectors. Okay, that doesn't come out, didn't come out right. The governor that just defected, that's better. Fubara, Adeleke's exit shatters embattled PDP, dims 2027 hopes. That's how Guardian is capturing it. Mr. Akerega.
Yes, good morning, Jeffrey. Good morning, if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
I hope you can hear me.
Yes, please go ahead. We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes, indeed. It's a season of defection. This is long coming. Governor Adeleke of Osun State and, of course, Tim Fubara of Rivers State. So many Nigerians saw this coming. It's just a matter of time. But what was a bit of a shock was that Governor Adeleke of Osun State, who is from the same southwest region as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, moved to, as you rightly said, moved to little unknown Accord Party. Well, this is just politics of shifting sands. With time, Nigerians will know where the political pendulum is swinging. But the much-awaited fear and apprehension that Nigeria may indeed be tweaking towards a one-party state is coming to reality. So we'll wait and see how all of this play out. But for me, as a pro-democracy activist and journalist, this is not the flavor of democracy we all fought for. We fought for multi-party democracy, pluralistic political opinion by Nigerians. People to have political choices. That was what we fought for. That was what Nigerians envisaged and wanted. But we see how all of this pans out.
Well, and that is the expectation, but it appears as if we know where the destination is in the next couple of months, particularly with the promised defection of more governors. But let's head now to the New Telegraph this morning, which shows a different path from the defections. The New Telegraph captures the decision of the authority in the sub-region yesterday. Listen to this: coups, terrorism, ECOWAS declares state of emergency. Okay, before we head to New Telegraph, I gather that New Telegraph is being prepared. Let's check up on another paper this morning. The Vanguard newspaper: airspace violations, Nigeria, Sahel states differ over detained aircraft soldiers. And we see the riders there. Nigerian military aircraft violated Burkina Faso airspace. That's ascribed to the Sahelian states. How France helped Benin foil coup d'etat, Macron's aid. I believe this is a Vanguard exclusive. An FG to US delegation with security challenges, not religious. So there, a potpourri of things for you to react to there, Mr. Akerega. But let's begin with the different positions put out by the defense headquarters and, of course, the Sahelian states yesterday over that landing of Nigeria's aircraft. What's your position?
Well, as a Nigerian, of course, I have to work patriotic. The C-130 Nigerian Air Force aircraft, that aircraft and the 11 Air Force officers that were allegedly detained by the Burkina authorities is a huge aircraft that carries military weapons. It can carry armored tanks. It can carry more than 100 soldiers at the same. It's a big, wide-bodied aircraft. It's very, very huge and big. Now, the two opposing positions, the explanation by the Nigerian government and that of the Burkinabe authorities is conflicting. And Alliance of Sahel States, of course, you know, the three countries, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, agreed that they signed an accord to say that an attack on one is an attack on all. So you saw the three countries reacting to what happened. But how that aircraft managed to land in Burkina Faso, which for me I would call an enemy territory, given the fact that that country has exited the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was chairman. So as it is difficult for Nigerians to believe. For me, as a journalist, it is difficult for me to believe the side of the Nigerian government, because they've not really been telling Nigerians the truth. You know, each time the government comes out with a report of events, you later find out that there is much more that meets the eye. So I want to go with the story or the narrative of the Burkinabe government saying that the aircraft violated their airspace. I think something went wrong. If not, I don't see that aircraft actually landed. But if you look at the statement that was put out by the Nigerian Air Force, it said there was an in-flight emergency, there was an in-flight technical issue that forced the aircraft to land. But the Burkinabe are saying that the aircraft violated their airspace and the aircraft was forced to land in that country. So just two sides. It happened at the time that there was a coup in the Republic of Benin. And of course, don't forget, there are also rumors about, there was speculation about, Russian involvement one way or the other, spread reports of Russian ships on the sea, Russian hackers or bloggers supporting what happened in Benin before the coup was spotted, was spoiled within 3 hours with the support of Nigeria and all of that. So it's a developing story. It is clear that we have not seen it all. We've not read all the sides to the story. So it's developing. But again, it is important because last night I read a report saying that the 11 Air Force officers and the plane had been cleared to leave Burkina Faso. So that is where it is. Maybe as time goes on, we'll get to know what really happened. True story.
Mr. Adeleke, thank you so much for your insights on the conversation. I know you had mentioned, this is not the multi-party democracy we fought for, going back to the issue of the defections. But this is where we found ourselves. Perhaps the media will do not the opposition work, the real check and balance now. Because when it happens like this, a lot falls on our shoulders to be able to hold the government accountable on the behalf of the people. So maybe the next election is between the people and the APC. But we'll see how the days play out.
Yes, I agree. I agree. And that is where INEC must conduct a free and fair election. Let Nigeria, because there are still other parties, I hope that they will have the courage to pick candidates against the omnibus, the very big, mighty APC, in 2027. Because as it is it's scary, really, it is scary. APC is coming out very, very strong, like a giant. So we want to see the parties that can stand up to the APC by feeding candidates. And then let Nigerians decide. And INEC must conduct a free and fair election in 2027.
Thank you, Mr. Karaga. Mr. Karaga is a journalist, a member of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, joining us virtually. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
We'll now take a break. When we come back, we'll be starting that conversation. ECOWAS has declared a state of emergency in the region. President Bola Tinubu has gotten the nod of the National Assembly, the Senate, to say you can deploy troops to defend democracy in neighboring Benin. We'll discuss that in just a moment. Stay with us.
Of course, Jeffrey already set the tone for the first leg of our conversation. And joining us is former Army spokesperson, Brigadier General Usman Sani. He joins us from our Abuja studio. And we also are expecting to join us Global Affairs Analyst, International Media and Communication Strategist, and of course, former consultant to ECOWAS, Mr. Paul Ejime. He'll join us shortly, I believe. But let's begin with Brigadier General Usman Sani. Our newspaper review guests already reacted to the position put out by the Sahelian states and how it seemingly contradicts with that explanation provided by the Nigerian Air Force. You are a retired Army general, and of course you know the operating procedures that obtain. We know that the three Sahelian states exited ECOWAS in January. So could it be possible that the crew were not operating based on updated protocol as far as those three states are concerned? Or, if you like, what do you believe happened such that there's a contradicting position put out by the authority of the Sahelian states and the Air Force, Nigerian Air Force?
I think, good morning, and thank you so much for having me on your program. The thing is that really, first and foremost, it's a thing of concern, especially to Nigerians, due to dearth of information. I have seen the statement issued by the Nigerian Air Force, and of course that of the AEC, AES, as it is, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, in respect of their own side of the story and Nigerian side of the story. But the truth is that the aircraft in question is more or less like a cargo aircraft, C-130 as it is. And we have had the privileges while I was in service to use it for transportation and other logistic supplies here and there, especially in some parts of African countries where troops are deployed and then, and so on. So now I think it's just a matter of understanding and constructive engagement between Nigeria and, of course, the AES countries, in the sense that if Nigeria meant bad, they wouldn't have sent a cargo aircraft. It could have been something else. So there should be. But quite unfortunate, yes, to answer the question whether they have not adopted the protocol and all the rest, everybody is conscious of the fact that no love lost between Nigeria and, of course, almost all the other ECOWAS members with these countries that exited, the economic community of West African states for obvious reasons. You know what happened, toppling democratic governance and, of course, the stance of ECOWAS, especially that time when Nigeria was in a position of leadership, is what's matter of principles. And given the level of propaganda and all the rest of the thing, and I've had instances just this morning, I was made to understand that Niger in particular is putting more stringent measures about goods coming from Nigeria, unlike in the past. They are not being checked properly, but now it is. And, kind of with every passing day, there is one stumbling block in respect of the relationship between these countries and Nigeria. And I think what is important now is to ensure the safety of our, pilots and crew as well as our aircraft. And that can be done through constructive engagement. Of course, by the time Nigeria come up clean with the reason why, and these things can happen. Aircraft is just like anybody who has been using any machine whatsoever. It could be a car, even a motorcycle, even bicycle can break down at least expected moments. It has happened several times, even with international flights and even local flights. I could remember just recently, we were flying in from Sokoto to Abuja, and then we were diverted to Kano. In fact, I was even angry that why should they divert us to Kano? Why not Kaduna, that is closer, and all the rest? It's just because an aircraft developed technical faults at the Abuja airport. It was unforeseen. I think the most important thing is to ensure there is an understanding. This thing can happen. And the good thing about all this thing is that there seems to be some kind of diplomatic row and all the rest, but deep inside them, particularly the armed forces, I believe, I don't know of the present set, but the previous sets that have just passed out or graduated from the Armed Forces Command and Staff College, we have students from these, countries that are making all this trouble. So it is not as bad as it is, and I'm so sure this impasse will come to pass with proper constructive engagement.
Perhaps that's why, ECOWAS is responding. But one thing is, significant from what you have said. It is the tension in relations between Nigeria, or Nigeria and the other West African neighbors and their former members in ECOWAS, being the 3 Sahelian states. Let me take you to Mr. Ejime now, who is a former consultant to ECOWAS. He has since joined us virtually. I'm glad you're following. I'm hoping that you've been following the conversation before you joined us. Talk to us about what a state of emergency declared by ECOWAS in the sub-region, what does it mean against the backdrop of the principles and the codes, guiding the establishment of ECOWAS itself?
Thank you, Bukola, for having me. And I hope you do not retire me several times. I'm still a consultant, so if you have work for me to do, I can do it, okay? So I'm still working for ECOWAS in a way, not regular staff.
Pardon me.
Yes, so I am following the conversation, and who wouldn't? After, for instance, we survived the coup. I was there. I was in Guinea-Bissau as an observer, and then barely made it to get out of that country. And here we are with Benin Republic. So, state of emergency. Well, I think it is time that ECOWAS stopped talking. The time for them to talk was, many years ago. But they have allowed things to get to this level. The horse has already bolted out of the stable, as it were. What does it mean? You have talked about deploying standby force. That is the highest you can do, using force. But why allow things to get to this level where you have to begin to use force? You could have done preventive diplomacy. You could have done the, nipping things in the bud. For instance, where all these things are happening today, the danger signals have always been there. For instance, in Benin, let's begin with Benin. Benin there, President Talon had violated ECOWAS protocols. One, he set up, he changed the constitution to make, the protocol says there should be no change of any law, constitution, or this 6 months before an election. Benin has an election in January and then in April. In November, Talon changed the constitution to change the tenure of the president from 5 to 7 years, and then created what he called a Senate that will be populated by former heads of state, including himself, that will have power even more than the president of the republic or even the parliament. And then the opposition there have actually been wiped out. They don't have any say. He's not running in this election, but he's putting his protege there. And many opposition leaders, some of them are either in jail or they have fled the country. So the political space has been shrunk. In fact, one of those jailed for, you can't believe it, for terrorism is a woman, a lady, Rechia. This is a lady who, because she mustered the courage to oppose Talon in an election, she was, the trial was, what you have in all these Trump-prop charges. He was charged for terrorism and has been in jail since 2021 or so, for 20 years. That's what they jailed her for. So that is then the leaders have conveniently distanced themselves from the population. And so you hear that there is a disconnect, there is discontentment, and that is why we are saying, who are the cause for all this? It is the political leadership. They are rulers. They are no longer leading. But if you are a leader, you listen to those who are leading. But here, these people are going on as if they are demigods,
well, Mr.
that they are autocrats.
If I can comment quickly.
The same thing in Guinea-Bissau.
Right. Pardon me. Just before you go on, Mr. Jimmy, I just want to quickly ask you, can we then say that Nigeria protected democracy by the actions it took in Benin, or a contraption that we're describing as democracy?
Okay. This is the complexity of the whole situation. Would you say that what Talon was doing was democratic? No. Will you also support military rule? No. So this is the quagmire. I think this was where President Tinubu found himself and decided to say, more or less, this is self-preservation. He has seen that the fire or danger was getting closer home. Remember that in October there was reported a coup. You know, some people are being tried, and here we are. Nigeria didn't observe the national parade. You know, people are making a lot of suggestions there. And then we had Guinea-Bissau. After Guinea-Bissau, then the thing was getting closer home. I think Nigeria had to act. But the issue is, should you have waited till this time? When all these leaders were doing all that they have been doing, violating the ECOWAS protocol, and ECOWAS didn't call them out, and then allowing leaders to run roughshod over their citizens, and nothing happened. There are protocols that ECOWAS should use. It's not only military rule that is unconstitutional change of government. These leaders have been carrying on what you call political coups, constitutional coups, ballot box coups. They are rigging election. They are trampling on the rights of their citizens. These are against what ECOWAS stands for. So are they just waking up to it? That is the question. So Nigeria, if you ask me, Benin is a strategic country for the economically and in security terms. So Nigeria couldn't have left, because anything that happens there will have a blow, have consequences on Nigeria.
Let me come
so Nigeria have waited till there is anarchy in that country. I think that is the dilemma that President Tinubu found himself.
Brigadier, let me bring you the Brigadier General. General, in fact, you wear two caps right now. Now you have left the military, so you observe things a little bit more broadly. And the dilemma that Mr. Ejime has put out, and we've seen the plethora of ludicrosity of what is called a contraption of democracy. Neighboring Cameroon elected a man who is on his way to 100 years, surrounded by his colleagues who are within that age bracket. At least maybe he's about that age as well. Guinea-Bissau, we understand Omar Mbalo, having known that this election may not go in his way, he was the one that announced the coup and began to give pressers. We don't know what that kind of coup looks like. And then look at the remarks by Mr. Ejime, or what is being played out by Talon, who is not going to seek re-election, but he's preserving himself and his cronies. And so we're seeing a mess of what we call democracy. My colleague Kawade will say, maybe this is our own style of democracy. When you see all of this and you see the military incursion, is it a valid reason for the military to step in? Because nobody wants to see the military in power, no matter how great they sound, because of what it is. You know, it's a different kettle of fish altogether when you have military in power. But now that you're out of the military and seeing things in a lot more broadly, what do you make of it? How should citizens approach this situation? On one hand, the politicians are reckless. On the other hand, they don't want the military to take over.
Well, I think let's start from your first question. I think you asked whether it is a valid reason for the military, given the plethora of all the misgovernance that you have talked about. The answer is capital no. It is not an excuse. for military to take over any constitutional government, regardless of the circumstances, because the Constitution itself is the grand norm of all the laws of any given state. Therefore, it makes provision for, changes in terms of governance, and usually through the electoral process. So anybody to, whether bloodless coup or whatever it is absolutely wrong and an aberration. And we have seen the impact in so many other places, especially here in Nigeria. The society is better off in a democratic governance. But the truth is that, yes, there is a great concern. I don't know whether it is an African thing or something. The world has agreed that democratic governance is the best form of governance, and Africans have imbibed that spirit. But unfortunately, instead of making the best of this system of governance to develop and enhance the well-being of the people, the other way is the case. They tend to perpetuate themselves, tamper with the electoral process. You have seen it. You have just mentioned several, in some instances, Guinea-Bissau, Cameroon, and also now the latest in town, the Benin Republic. And there are several other countries. In fact, there is one African country that I've never known any other head of state, president, other than, the one. Take, for instance, Eritrea. So these are the kind of problems. And if you are talking about what the citizens should do, and that is why they have to rally among themselves. And one of the staying powers of any democratic governance is the civil society organization. They conscientize the people, and of course the opposition political parties, they ought to, make themselves credible in the sense that constructive engagement, the overall interest of the country should be the overriding thing rather than, political ambitions or self-serving things the politicians turn to. And going by what is happening, I think it's a wake-up call to each and every one of them. They have realized that actually you cannot be running things the way you are running. You have to adhere to the constitutional provisions, open the civil space, let there be proper electoral processes and all the rest. Because Africa is blessed with credible human resources, and in anything you are doing, if you think even if you are the best, there are at least two other people that are better than you. Conversely, of course, when we reverse it, even if you are bad, there are two people that are worse than you. So it is not true. Simply because you are doing very best, you are doing well as a president or whatever, that you think you are the very best that their country has. No. Just give other people the chance and you will see they could even do better than you do. So, and earlier these leaders realized that, and it cut across, it is not even the leadership of a country. No, various, categories of leaders. Take, for instance, in the Nigerian context, right from the president, the state governors, and the local government, any other person that is elected. The best thing is to, serve the people as it were. For instance, there are provisions in the Constitution. Let's look at Section 14. The primary responsibility of government is the protection of lives and properties. Have you been doing that very well to the best of your ability? So that is the question.
And you took the words right out of my mind. That's where I'm headed. I'd like us to talk about democratic governance against the backdrop of the Senate's approval of President Tinubu's request to deploy military to Benin Republic to stabilize the government there. Back home, the bride who was kidnapped in Sokoto and her friends, I doubt that they have been returned. We have stopped talking about the worshippers in Kogi State that were abducted. We still have a good number of children from the St. Mary's School in Niger State who have not returned home yet, 150 of them. So the military that is being deployed to, Benin Republic, those communities would need them to feel secure such that they know that there would be no, further kidnappings in their community. And indeed, those who are still in the kidnappers' den would need them also for rescue. How does this look if we believe that charity begins at home? And you have rightly said that Section 14 of the Constitution, makes it mandatory for the government to secure lives and property.
Yeah, I can understand the growing concern in respect of this development of, the Senate approving the deployment of Nigerian troops in Benin Republic. You see, they said necessity is the mother of invention. And if you look at the relationship, and that is one of the things that people hardly understand, the complexity of the Nigerian society. In the sense that, look at, geographically we are surrounded by other countries, some of whom are mostly French. In fact, almost all of them are French speaking. Luckily enough now, renewed understanding and all the rest of the thing. Now, the problem, any slightest problem in any of these countries, it has corresponding consequences on Nigeria, regardless of the fact that sometimes, some of the countries, they are not even as populous as a state out of the 6 states of the Federation. With that notwithstanding, take for instance, if there is any problem, the issue of humanitarian problem, for instance, how do we contend with refugees from Benin Republic? And remember again, there is understanding or kind of relationship in terms of commerce, trading and all the rest of them. It will affect economy and the rest. So people should understand the reason why there is whether there is need to stabilize democratic governance in that country. And beyond the initial intervention, quelling the coup, there is need to also stabilize. And then you have to understand the issue of geopolitics. Most of these Western countries are fighting proxy war on the African continent, especially in the Sahel and all the rest. So Nigeria wouldn't like, Benin Republic to be in that. You have seen the problem. An aircraft that that broke down in Burkina Faso, they are making so much noise about it. So basically, these are the kind of thing that's fighting. But then, yes, Nigeria, we need all the troops we can, because we know that we don't even have enough human resources to deal with the security situation in this country. But at the same time, you have to proactively, deal with issues as they come out or they rear their heads before they, escalate into full-scale conflict. And there were several instances where Nigerians were divided. Sometimes the previous government had to give Niger Republic certain vehicle and all the rest. But the truth is that if you don't solve that problem, and Nigeria has been doing that, it sponsored even electoral processes in those countries to make sure that the democracy is stabilized. And so when the chiefs are down, they send in troops. Look at what happened, when Yahya Jammeh refused to, hand over to the elected president. Of course, Nigerian troops, and I think up to now, ECOWAS still have some troops there. So you look at it from that perspective, but then at the same time, it's a wake-up call that you should also have a kind of retrospection to look at what do you have. The earlier you enhance the security of Nigerians, the better, so that you can also live in peace, so that you can live also, you can discharge your, international obligation in terms of either ECOWAS protocol, the African Union, or the United Nations, as the case may be, because Nigeria is signatory to all these things, and we owe it as a point of duty. And above all, again, there was a request from the Benin government for that purpose, and you cannot refuse your neighbor when he or she or they are in need.
General, quite a number of issues to speak to, because we have a current political situation even in Nigeria where one party seems to be taking all of the states now with the gale of defections, and it looks like there will be more. But let me go to Mr. Jimmy as we begin to wind down. And perhaps you may want to speak to that, the current political situation in Nigeria. You've seen all of the movements. If you look at Nigeria's political map now, one color is dominant. Yes, Mr. Jimmy, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, looks like one color is dominant. The APC, the PDP, would lose another governor in the coming days. I mean, all things remain equal. So speak to that as well. Does that give you any hope in this democracy that we are all trying to protect in that sense? And maybe if I can give you a double-edged sword, is multilateralism dying as we're seeing it right now? You think there will be some sort of resuscitation?
Yes, it is dying, and that is why some countries some leaders do whatever they do, and they will always have supporters. In the past, countries will coalesce and then be able to question what a particular country is doing. But when you talk about geopolitics, if America and the West are on one side, Russia, China are on the other. So that is what is playing out. Well, you talked about what is happening at home. Charity begins at home. There is what you call in international relations strategic ambiguity. Usually when things are not going well at home, you find that you go out to begin to shop for successes so that it will maybe translate into, before you now finish with that, you would have been able to settle what is happening at home. It is not only in Nigeria that you have this tendency for the executive to want to control both the legislature and then the judiciary. In fact, many people, if you had expected that this current legislature, National Assembly, will say no to the president's request for approval, then you are not living in Nigeria, or you are a stranger. So, and that is what many of them are doing. They want to pocket all the other arms of government, and then begin to operate as if it were authoritarian or dictatorship. And that is why I call them rulers, because it's only rulers, and that is why you know in military, when the military are in power, they say they are rulers, because they are not governing. They are churning out something that looks like decrees, and that is where the politicians are moving to, and that is where ECOWAS, for instance, was coming from in the 70s and the 80s. Remember that we had military rulers then. And then we are going back there. ECOWAS 15 member countries, now only 10, because 5 are already and counting. So it is not democracy. When those who are practicing it, UK, America, of course, they have multi-party, but only 2 are there. To be able, opposition needs to put the government, the ruling party, on their toes. In the UK, you have a shadow government. For instance, if the government will be there, but they have a shadow set of ministers that will be looking at all the portfolios. And you also have what you call the Prime Minister question time, when everybody will be asking the minister, what do you think? Is always a sparring kind of thing between the leader of opposition and then the prime minister. But that is not what Africans are doing. What we are doing is, some people say democracy has failed. No, but I say it is the practitioners, the politicians that have failed democracy. But let me also come to the solution. I just sent out a piece that I called ECOWAS coup contagion, and then Nigeria's C-130 saga. What is my recommendation? It is that we need to get ourselves reorientated about what the kind of governance we want to do. Both the politicians, the security agencies, civil society, the media, those who are voting, the electorate, because we are also enabling these politicians to do what they are doing. Look at the kind of deflection you have in Nigeria. Or is it defection? Yes, everybody is moving. There is party. Remember that Abacha did such a thing. In fact, he was, what was it? They were pleading to him to come and head the parties. I don't know the term they used in that time, for him to, they have, is it approved or sanctioned him, or they have given him the power to come and rule Nigeria. We know where that ended. It is not the good thing for a country to run one party. We are coming from there. One party state cannot survive. It's not sustainable. So let all these stakeholders that I have named, let those who are talk, who are beating the drum that we are now in charge. It is one party. It's not going to work. And those who are not there, do something. You know, you can't wait. They give you whatever it is that you are given during an election, during one cycle. And then you allow the politicians until another time they come to you, either T-shirt or rice or bread or whatever. How much are they going to give you that will make you sell your vote or sell your conscience? So we are all in this together. Let us work for it. Let the electorate, the civil society, the media. You can see the media. Media is even quiet. They are not, maybe because they are afraid. And the government has weaponized poverty or cannot stand opposition or criticism. It's not only in Nigeria, but everybody is looking up to Nigeria as the largest black nation. Nigeria should come, you know, to the table. Nigeria should lead. What is happening in ECOWAS today is because of the leadership that we have in Nigeria. For the 8 years that President Buhari was there, you said you don't talk ill of about the death. But it is because of the neglect of what was happening in ECOWAS. This is what has brought that organization here. There is no ECOWAS without Nigeria.
Indeed.
Nigeria ought to take up its own responsibility.
Indeed, that would be a fine place to anchor it. And, you know, because sometimes the human mind can be very fragile, and that's why we need reminders. And we'll continue to have this conversation, but we must anchor at this point. And thank you very much. We've been talking with Mr. Paul Ejime, consultant to ECOWAS and international communications and media strategies. And also not forgetting Brigadier General Usman Sani, former army spokesman, who joined us from our Abuja studio. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time on the program.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
And so we'll switch gears now, and Kayode has the next one.
Oh, indeed. We're talking politics now, which was a major part of our previous conversation. Local politics. The governor of Osun State, Governor Adeleke, is now in a Accord party, left the PDP from early November, actually, and now over a month after, he has officially joined a Accord party. We're joined on the program this morning by the Commissioner for Information in Osun State, Mr. Kolapo Alimi, joins us virtually. You're welcome to the program, Mr. Alimi.
Thank you for having me. Good morning,
good morning. It was, I mean, general knowledge that the governor wanted to join the APC, but at least there's an A in Accord party, right? So is this a case of when the desirable is not available, the available then becomes the desirable?
No, that is not the situation. First and foremost, thank you for this opportunity. But we have to look back at as far what actually caused all this moving away from People's Democratic Party, the PDP. You just it is a popular thing in the country, what is known to everybody. The leadership tussle in the PDP, which has refused to go, and any right-thinking person will not actually advise Mr. Governor to still continue to go ahead and contest for second term under the party, which is struggling, which is leadership people. And so many people have been talking to the governor about the need to go for second term, and on this of the platform. So at a time, truly some notable traditional rulers in this state who believe the president, as well as Bola Tinubu being a Yoruba man, needs to be supported for second term. They came to the governor to rally around the president for that second term, and that they are the one who happened to be the architect of the governor should move to the APC. They equally met the president. But let me tell you that local politicians here, the way they look at things, and then because of that one could not skip through for so many factors, which I would not want to be discussing on here. After that one, and the people of Osun, because of the good governance that has been delivered by Ademola Adeleke in the last 3 years, they are clamoring for him to go for second term. So he has to take his time. At the time, we thought the leadership crisis in the People's Democratic Party will be resolved. In fact, our governor, His Excellency, Senator Ademola Adeleke, actually tried his best possible between the two warring factions to ensure that they had a consensus on on the leadership issue. But at last, it didn't work. And so, as an intelligent person, many people have been advising him here and there, go to this, go to that one. And they are advising that it will not be safe for you to go and contest for second term in PDP, taking into consideration the leadership crisis. Look at the case, for example, look at the case of Safara. Because of the who's supposed to sign this, who happened to be the right person to sign, the right person was not signed. The entire structures of the party who won as at that time they were given to another political party. All the political officers, they were asked to go. And so the governor, the people not to take the risk of contesting the PDP. And that is why they have to check the manifestos of other political parties, check the leadership, and then took his time. And then he discovered that, yes, it was time to move. And he did that while he resigned his membership of a People's Democratic Party on November 4. So he had actually joined the Accord Party by November 6. But he delayed the unveiling of all these things because of the convention of PDP, which was also going on. He didn't want to be seen as being part of the people who disrupted anything in PDP. He left the PDP because the situation in the leadership crisis in the PDP was posted his exit on him. And so yesterday, the governor unveiled Accord. Accord, look at their manifestos, it goes in line with good governance that Adeleke is delivering, and that is the reason. And everybody since yesterday has actually welcomed him, and they give kudos to Ademola Adeleke for going for Accord.
Interesting there, because it felt like did he want to go to the APC for purpose of full disclosure?
No, I told you now. I told you now that some stakeholders in this state, some powerful stakeholders, Nigerians, you are first of all, if you are an Igbo man before being in Nigeria. If you are a Yoruba man, you are first of all a Yoruba man before being in Nigeria. Some people in this state who believe, as Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president being a Yoruba man, needs to be supported. They were the ones who came to Ademola Adeleke. And when it didn't work, they all realized. And they wanted Ademola Adeleke for second round. They said, we are supporting you, but we heard you. Please kindly support President Tinubu. Because today, APC is decimated in this state. And the last presidential election, that's why the fact that our president happened to be a Yoruba man. He lost in Osun. So the people, they realized that without the support of our governor, there's no way the president can win here. So that's why they came to him. But later on, the governor said, no, the president is a Yoruba man. I can support him wherever I might be. And so that is just it. But as per the governorship, which the whole state wants him to go for second term because of a good dividend of democracy that has been delivered, so it's now in accord. When you come to a state, just come and check about the welfare of the workers in this state. It has improved since Ademola Adeleke came. The workers in the state has never had it so good as it is today. The minimum wage adopted by the federal government happened to be 70,000 naira minimum wage. Ademola Adeleke adopted 75,500 naira. And when you now compare the scale of being paid in the state is number 3 throughout the country, and that is attested to by the NSC. So,
Mr. Alemi, just a moment.
When you look at
my apologies. There will be a time for us to talk about his performance. I don't know whether today is the day. If we have the time, we'll probe even further his performance in terms of infrastructure and all the parameters we use to measure. But I want to stay with the politics. So, by extension, by implication, you're saying that Governor Adeleke's movement to Accord Party means that, so that I'm not quoting you wrongly, so I'm quoting you rightly. He will be in Accord Party on the platform of the Accord Party to seek re-election, which is next year. But in 2027, being on an Accord Party is going to be supporting APC. Is that what you're saying?
That is the possibility, but let us take it one or the other. Governor Adeleke today is seeking for second term in Accord Party. We have stated that one earlier on, that the president needs to be supported and that we are going to support him in 2027. So that is no longer a news for anybody. When we were in the People's Democratic Party, we adopted the president for second term. When you take the route of Mr. President, you trace it to Osun State. He's one of us, and we have to give him the necessary support. But as far the second term for Governor Adeleke is going to fight for second term under the platform of Accord. And when you look at the number of political parties in Nigeria, the logo of Accord is thumb inside A. So it's A. When you see it, the logo is thumb inside A. It happened to be the number one on the ballot. And that one will equally make it easier for our electorate here to identify. If they are not going to be looking around for the party they are going to vote for, they're just going to talk the thumbprint on number one.
All right. I was hoping you would elaborate on the reason the governor eventually did not choose the All Progressives Congress. But let's expand the conversation to look at, possible consequences, particularly for the 2027 election. We know that Osun was traditionally an APC state, and indeed against all odds, even when the PDP was the party in power, Osun went the way of APC. But in 2023, the PDP won the presidential election in Osun, and the APC came second. So is this not amounting to a wrong political move by the governor when you consider the odds stacked against the Accord Party, which is relatively unknown, for the next round of elections in that state? And if the people decide to go the way of what they traditionally know to be their political party?
Well, let me tell you one thing. The people in Osun are well enlightened. They are well educated. And you look at our governor. When you look at Adeleke dynasty, Adeleke dynasty is the structure in Osun. Just remember that the great partner of Adeleke happened to be a senator in this state. The first executive governor of Osun State, Senator Adeleke, from Adeleke dynasty. He later became a senator before he died. Our current governor, against all odds, won his senatorial ticket. So even when APC was in power, Senator Adeleke. Now, when he was in PDP, he won. You attested to the fact that even when the APC was the one in power, when Adeleke uprooted the last administration under Adegoye. And because of the woeful performance of that administration, that was the reason. You could just imagine that the last incumbents, who happened to be a minister, they could not even say you want to come back. They are trying to use a fresh face. This is due to the fact that they know that they have performed very bad in this thing. So, but coming back to the issue of people are realizing it is the movement of Adeleke to Accord was prompted by the people. They are asking, we want you to move out of PDP. Go to any other party, will follow you. There is a song in Osun now. They say, Yoba lo la nlo, awa umani padao, ibi Yoba lo la nlo. The meaning, that's the Yoruba song. The meaning in English is that wherever you go, we go. We will never desert you. We will never depart you. That is it. So there is no political risk. All the structures on ground automatically becomes out of the Accord. Accord truly had no structure in the before. But as it is today, immediately after it got there, it inherited structures, the cabinet, everybody, politicians, teachers, artisans, everybody in Osun. Just come. People are anxious before. Today, people are joyous. with great excitement. So that's just it.
I don't expect anything less from you, Mr. Alimi. You've spoken about the support which you believe the governor has. But let's talk about something some would say is even more important, and that's respect. A lot of people have voiced their displeasure over what played out between the governor and the First Lady on Sunday in Osun State. And for a lot of people, it was sort of like a pointer to the kind of respect that the governor commands, both from the people and other political players. You saw the First Lady approaching him not once, twice, asking him, well, reduce this singing, go straight to your speech, stop all the protocol. And again, as I said, it was distasteful to see for a lot of Nigerians. So I want you to speak to that. In terms of respect, how much respect does the governor really command, seeing what played out there? Some say, why does he sing at events when he's meant to go straight to a speech or dance? And can't he just go straight to the issues at hand? Some say he should speak up against that disrespect which they believe came from the First Lady. And I'd like you to speak to that, Mr. Alimi. Ms. Alimi, the floor is yours now.
Yes. I'm sorry. Are you with me?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Yes. As per what actually happened, let me just quickly inform our viewers that that has become a thing of past. It does not diminish anything from the governor. You know, our governor has a way of communicating to the people. His trademark is that whenever he wants to talk to the people, he first praise God. The people will be really catchy. Whoever that was at that occasion for attest to it, immediately the governor started singing, you please went agog. And so the First Lady had actually made a release that it was just a mere mistake. And the relationship between our governor, His Excellency Adeleke, and the presidency, both the president and the First Lady, Her Excellency Senator Oluremi Tinubu, it remained cordial. The relationship remained cordial. So there's no quarrel, there's no problem whatsoever. So let anybody don't read any meaning to it. The governor should command respect from the First Lady, and the governor will continue to give the First Lady and the President the deserved respect. So don't let us wonder too much on that one. That's an incident that has passed, and so many lessons have been learned. But for the governor, it's his own way of starting any speech. Just under just a minute, we praise God. He will tell your words that I mean, Baba. That is all by I give glory to God. It is only that can understand why I need to continue to praise God every time. You understand it? That's the offense for whatever be the cause has become a thing of past. Our governor, His Excellency Adeleke, still holds both the president and the First Lady in high esteem, and we believe the president also holds the governor in high esteem.
So he will continue to sing that way at events and dance as well? Is that what you're saying?
He did, my brother, he did that yesterday.
Oh,
don't pretend. No, some politicians, some public officers get to office and be pretending. It doesn't affect your work. Some people, when they get to, if they're Muslim, they recite so many Quran before they start. If you are a pastor, some recite so many biblical passages before they start. The governor, in his own way, whenever he wants to talk, he will talk up, praise God, and then come back to the speech. And the people are used to it. They know immediately you stand up like this, they are going to rejoice first. So that is just it. It's the normal thing, and he will continue to do it no matter whatever anybody might feel, might say, because the people of Osun love him for that. And they are the one who elected him. So the people love him. So no question about that. Not because of that first stop. He was at the annual convention of Anna yesterday, They ask him, please, governor, sing for us. He dance and sing with the people. When you see, even with the children, yesterday we went for we went for a program. The governor sang and danced with children. So that is so happy. He's a very happy man. He's always happy and look at all the shenanigans on this issue of local government. It doesn't affect him, and he's delivering. You understand it? And everybody knows what matters is for the governor to deliver. You have a happy governor. Do you want to change him for?
All right, Ms. Alimi, I don't know. Is it network? Well, the governor is a jolly good fellow. He radiates through him. We've seen that. But what happened that day was it left everything in bad taste. There's no way to sugarcoat it. It was bad. It was bad. Ms. Alimi, can you hear me?
You can't hear me. I'm hearing you.
Okay, fantastic.
Now, let me tell you one thing.
Just hold on. Just a moment. We don't have much time. What has been on my mind to ask you, since you serve as commissioner in that government, by extension, perhaps you're a politician, is whether or not the way you see politics being practiced in Nigeria, whether politics is safe in the hands of the current crop of politicians. We've seen defections with some of the most flimsy reasons sometimes. Sometimes we've seen politicians trying to turn the constitution on its head, choosing what they will obey and what they will not obey. Everybody being the Lord of the Ring. It looks like there is some, I don't know whether it's a coordinated chaos, I don't even know what to call it, but when you look beyond Osun State and generally what is playing out in Nigeria, is this how politics is supposed to be played?
Well, thank you very much, Gregor. Let me say, as I said before, it is not, what happened is not a bad thing for the governor. The governor did not cause that one. So as per the issue of politicians, Nigerians, we are special species in everything. It is quite unfortunate that even when we can read and write, and something is written in black and white, we still continue to read another thing. As it's not peculiar to politicians alone, it's everywhere, every sectors. We need to work on all our sectors. But as we have rightly stated, the politicians should lead the pack as our conduct and our interpretation of issues to suit our purposes. We statement. I agree with you.
Right.
Nigerian politicians need to walk the talk. Make sure when you say you want to deliver. When the court gives judgment, respect it. Look at the case we have in Osun. Somebody having lost the last administration, having lost the election. He now went ahead to conduct an election at the local government.
Mr. Alimi. Indeed, and those issues remain, even issues around the judiciary as well in Osun State. But I know the conversation continues. We have to anchor at this point, and we wish the governor, as you call him, Governor Ademola Jackson Nuruddin Adeleke, who's now a member of the Accord Party, the very best. Mr. Kolapo Alimi, Commissioner for Information, Osun State, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for this opportunity.
We'll take a moment now, and when we return, we're counting down to Christmas. There's a lot of festivity in the air. How should you spend your Christmas? We'll share that with you, but we'll also speak to the security situation in Niger State. The Christian Association of Nigeria joins us next. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Let's talk about what's been playing out in Niger State. At Papri School, we had the unfortunate incident of a couple of hundreds of students, pupils and teachers being kidnapped by abductors. We're not sure of the number, but so far we've had release of 150. The government now says 115 is left to be released. Let's bring in our guest, Daniel Atori. He's a media aide to the Bishop of Cantagora Diocese and proprietor of the school. That's Bishop Bulus Johanna. He joins us now. Mr. Atori, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
So let's begin with a bit of clarity as far as the numbers are concerned. So when the kidnap happened, we understood that there were over 300 students, pupils, teachers abducted. But now we've seen releases, I think 50 or 51 the first time, and then we saw another 100, that's making it 151, 51. But the government is saying 115 more, so I think that should be less than 300 as alluded to in the initial report when that incident occurred. So how many students and teachers were actually abducted? How many have been, we know how many have been released, how many are left to be released?
Okay, good morning once again. We had 315 in total, including teachers, pupils, students, and teachers. And along the line, we had about 50 of them escaped. And we were giving out kids and furnishing the net with missions, giving them
Ms. Atori, I will need to butt in. Just if you can hear me, Ms. Atori, just a moment. I wouldn't know what is wrong with the connection, but I don't think we could pick exactly what you were saying because that information is very vital. Maybe you can repeat what you said. Let's see whether it's a lot more better this time. Please go ahead.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
Okay. I said when the incident happened, we had 315 in total. We had 12 teachers and 303 pupils and students. And these information we are the ones we were able to get and confirm these information, and their names were released. However, we had 50 of them escaped. And when they escaped, we now had a total of 265, including the students and teachers. To God be the glory, we have 100 released, rescued, and of course, if you mentioned their families yesterday, I'm still in Agora, local government. Out of 465, if you have 100 rescued, the number left, if you do your simple calculation, you have 165. And the information, we're not just saying this or giving these figures or giving these numbers. These are the numbers that we have in the records. And you don't forget, when this thing started, a lot of quarters of people were saying,
oh, dear, Mr. Torre, we'll come back to you. I think we were able to pick a few things, so we can see the pictures. Mr. Torre, we'll come back to you. We just want to sort out the audio because it's important we hear exactly what you're saying, but we could pick a thing or two. But for our audience, this happened a few days ago. The set of 100 students that were released from the abductors and handed over to the government of Niger State. Governor Umar Bago received them on behalf of the government of Niger State. So bringing a total to 150 so far that have been reunited with their family. That's why we're asking the question, because you can see the age to the bishop of that diocese, Kantangora, who owned this, the proprietor of the school, is saying that 315 documented people were abducted, students and teachers. 50 escaped, 100 released. So we should be having, the remaining should be 165, but we're seeing, I think the government put out 115. I don't know whether it's a typographic error or it is what it is. So that's why we needed this clarity to know exactly how many are left. So from Mr. Atori, is saying that 165 are left to be released from their abductors. Mr. Atori, maybe let's try again if you continue with your trail of thought.
Okay, if you can hear me now, we have 165 left. The government, they've done the bit, the security agencies, they've been able to help us get 100 rescued. And the parents are here. The government registered that parents whose children were abducted should come register their names. And we have over 200 parents turned up, and they have their names registered. So, like you said, it's possible it's a typographical error. We saw it over the newspapers yesterday and on the news. That's 115 students that was in captivity. It's 165. We have the names, we have the figure, everything is intact, and we have forwarded these names to the right channels. The right authorities, the government and security agencies, they have these names. So there's no need doing back and forth with figures.
All right.
We have the names of those who are.
Mr. Atori, as much as this conversation is very critical, you know, to events in Niger State, Kontagora, your community to be precise, we would have to pause yet again. Perhaps you log out and log in again, and then we'll proceed. But much of what you're saying is very critical information that needs to be put out. You're saying that 165 children and their teachers are still left. So we want to know, exactly the state of these children and precisely what the state of security is in Kontagora community as we speak. Even before the release of this 100 additional children, are the people, do they have a sense of safety about their well-being, about their, normal daily activity? And around St. Mary's Catholic School itself, what is the, the state of security there? Are there troops deployment to ensure, to deter any further, threats to security and stability of learning for the children, and indeed in the entire community itself? Are children still going to school, with a sense of safety? And would like you to also confirm reports. There are reports that some parents may have passed, amid this particular incident. We can only imagine the agony and anxiety that parents have been experiencing from the time the children were kidnapped, and even now, because 150 children, I don't know the number of teachers that you have factored into that 165, but parents of the remaining 150 children will be experiencing untold trauma at this particular point in time. And so we heard Bishop Johanna speak in our sister political program just days ago, and he was saying that the kidnaps as a result of more, economic factors than religious, because the attack on the Catholic school could support the ongoing conversation that there is, a systematic attempt to, diminish the Christian population. Yeah. But Bishop Johanna did say that some of what the children are saying suggests that the terrorists say they want to kidnap more children such that they can get more money. So all of the explanations, coming through from government that we're not paying ransom, it doesn't support the evidence that is coming through from the terrorists themselves, and indeed from what some of the children may have been telling their guardians upon release.
It's important to reiterate that in the president's statement that was released by the State House, it was said that the remaining 115. So this says a lot about coordination, because in that same statement, the president has said they are working with Khan, the parents and others. So clearly something is off here, and I really hope it's a typographical error, but that is a very grave error, because it's not just one life that is missing here. It is at least 50 lives that are not accounted for by this typographical error. And finally, just to put this in context, the children and teachers were abducted on November the 21st. That is exactly 19 days ago. 19 days, almost 3 weeks. Imagine if you were away from your comfort for one day. You just know how much of a pain and discomfort it will be. Talk more of staying there for 19 days. And it's not even, they're not in a house, they are in the forest. So just a reminder that this is the situation of these children for 19 days now.
It's very unfortunate to see these things happen, and we hope that we can do better as a country. After the Chibok girls incident many years ago, over 10 years ago, we did not expect for this level of mass abductions. Guys, till now, I can't figure out how over 300 people will be moved like that and they can't be intercepted. It doesn't add up. But we're all in this together to get them rescued, and then we can really probe what's really going on in our country. Daniel Atori, media aide to the Bishop of the Catholic Bishop of Kontagora Diocese, and the proprietor of the school, Bishop Bolus Johanna Mesatori. Our apologies, we couldn't get the full value of the conversation due to network issues, but we hope we can catch up with you some other time to give us good news as much as possible. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program. We'll take a break. When we come back after this break, we'll get to talk about what's playing out in Christmas. Christmas is there. Kyle has been counting down. I booked his spot, and he sits in his house on Christmas Day because the way he's looking forward to it, I'm curious. We'll take a break. We'll be right back, guys.
Welcome back. So let's talk about my favorite time of the year, but we're going to narrow it down. For a very long time now, Christmas has become an out-of-this-world experience at the Eco Hotel and Suites. I know you know what I'm talking about. You regular visitor to the Eco Hotel and Suites. Christmas in Wonderland. And so it's happening again. They never fail to deliver. So joining us to have a conversation about what this year's outlook will be at the Eco Hotel and Suites is the mastermind behind the Wonderland experience itself. Welcome with us, Dr. Iyaduni Gbadebo, the Director, Sales and Marketing, Eco Hotels and Suites, Victoria Island. We also have Mrs. Eloho Olumide Awe. She's the Portfolio Manager, Nigeria Bureau's PLC, Igomo, Lagos. Beautiful women. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having us. Good morning.
Good morning. Let's start with Christmas Wonderland, Eco Hotel and Suites 2025. What's it going to look like?
Well, it's tropical Christmas Wonderland at Eco Hotels and Suites. It would be phenomenal. I mean, in the last 7 years, we have invested very heavily in ensuring that families, Africans in the diaspora, international audiences find, an experience that's truly authentically African, that they can, come to explore all the beautiful creativity that Africans are about. And what we, our own tale of an African Christmas, really, because most people are used to just going abroad, and seeing, what a white Christmas looks like. But I think Africa is ready. I think Nigeria is ready. I think Lagos is bustling with a lot to show off. And so at Eco Hotels, we have been very intentional about how we express what a truly African tale of Christmas can be like for families.
And so let's bring in the partners. Maltina is, traditionally a partner with the Christmas Tropical Wonderland experience. What are you bringing on to this Christmas in Eco Hotel and Suites this year?
Good morning once again. It's been a 7-year journey, and we've been on this together. And right from day one, when the idea of the Christmas Wonderland was conceptualized by the Eco Hotel team and they shared with us at Nigerian Breweries, we've been joyful partners on this journey. Why is this important? At Nigerian Breweries, we are known for brewing the joy of true togetherness. That's one of our true purpose. And enjoyment of life is a key value for our business. For the Maltina brand, it's one of the #1 family brands in the country. And it's for many years been known for nourishing and bringing happiness to families and to homes. And so for us, this partnership is really, really symbiotic, because when you come to the tropical Christmas Wonderland, you see families together, you see them letting down. The beauty about the space is that you get an opportunity to stay together as a family in the hotel, but also experience all the different activities going on in the hotel. So for us, it's been wonderful. This year is going to be legendary, in keeping with our legendary Christmas theme. We're really bringing, I think it's themed around the Festival of Lights, and we're really bringing legendary lighting to the hotel, but also to the theme park, where there'll also be activities happening. And so really, really expect a lot in terms of a cool experience from Maltina. I think we were discussing just this morning, and we're also going to be bringing our signature for the first time Christmas glow truck. So it's going to really be bringing some excitement and festive cheer to the country, to Eco Hotel and to all the events and families that will be happening. And we'll be giving out a lot of drinks for families to enjoy. So it's going to be really, really a great time at Eco Hotel this year with Maltina and Eco Hotel.
You feel like to reschedule a few things.
You should. You should.
Let me bring you in.
You can't reschedule the show, can you? That would be a wise thing to do, actually.
That would be the wise thing to do. Given what they are promising, it's already, you know, literally you want to go and experience this. But let's talk about, from a growth perspective, how you've been able to scale this and consistently hold it for this long, and what perhaps testimonials there are, because testimonials are guarantees of references are guarantees of continuity and sustainability. That's
right. I would say that in the last 7 years, this whole idea started really as a test run. Let's do something over a weekend. Let's create a package where people will just book a room, you know, and get meals and just stay away from home, you know, and not have to do anything at home. But in the last 7 years, we have grown to developing even themes around it. I remember the first year we had done a tropical Christmas. We moved on to Candyland, and then COVID came. It was very difficult. It was miserable for us because, as you know, we in the hospitality and tourism industry were grossly hit by COVID. And it forced us really to think out the box. You know, we were, prior to then, seen as a very corporate business hotel, even though we have very massive leisure facility. And we thought, you know, there's no point trying to box your creativity in a small place when you can do better than that. And so creating those, that week, starting out that weekend experience just gave us, you know, opportunities to just think bigger. And now we're doing 5-day experiences, we're doing 7-day experiences, we're doing a whole long 12, 13-day holiday experience where you get both your rooms, a family of 4 gets a package where you have rooms with breakfast, lunches, and dinners. You now have access to Broadway musical theater shows, circus shows, puppet shows, comedy shows, choirs, significantly large, you know, numbers like that. We've hosted. It started out being Nigerians, you know, like, you know, people coming from Abuja, Port Harcourt, who see Lagos as a getaway. But in the last 7 years, I dare to say that the audience has massively changed. You know, you have the Africans in the diaspora, you have a lot of expats now coming, you know, to experience this. And 3 years ago, especially when we now, you know, created that African tale of Christmas, where we wanted to start telling you Santa is coming from the North Pole, we have a carnival, you know, with him and his crew arriving, but we're showing you what Africa looks like. We're showing you people performing performances, creative performances from the East, the West, and North and South of all of Africa, because even Africans haven't experienced all of Africa enough. And I mean, it's no more fun to travel abroad. You know, it's too expensive. It's ridiculous. You know, they don't want us anywhere there. So they should come here and experience, you know, the beauty and everything.
I'd like us to talk about that.
Let's bring in a law for a moment.
Yeah.
Because they are putting money in, so we need to look at the money end as well.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about how this reflects on your brand value, because this is really critical. For you to jump in on it. And I can see that as a representative of Maltina, you're very excited to be partnering with Eco Hotel and Suite. Tell us about that.
Well, I think the big thing for us is, yes, Maltina is at the heart of this, but we actually see this as a business partnership as Nigerian breweries. So it actually really does key into our values. One of the big things I mentioned earlier is that we value enjoyment of life. And of course, when you have events like this, people are more relaxed. They tend to then open, you know, more bottles of, you know, Maltina, Amstel Malta, and some of our other beverages, because it's actually a family experience. So there's something for everyone in the family.
So more money for you.
Of course, more consumers drinking our products, let me put it that way. You understand? So it's for us, we see bigger than just, you know, Maltina being at the center, but actually this entire business, you know, partnering with Eco Hotel on this journey. Because even while we have the tropical Christmas events, at Eco Hotel, you have a lot of concerts happening. Yeah. And, you know, where the young people, the Gen Zs and everybody is coming. And then you see that, you know, with this partnership, we're able to also connect with these younger audience, and then they get to take our products during this organization and engage with our brands, you understand? Really see the life of our brands come alive. And that is what builds brand equity, brand association, which is, you know, the ultimate goal at the end of the day for companies like us.
And that's a very vivid image, you know, seeing Maltina bottles, you know, in family tables all around. But I'm quite excited about the African element of Tropical Christmas Wonderland. Right. And I imagine that there's a huge partnership with the creative sector to bring it alive. Yes. And I'm sure that that's what, you know, a lot of people want to hear you talk about as well, the highlights of this, you know, African element in this year's Christmas. So what are we to expect specifically?
Right. Just before I get to that, Maltina and the partnership that we have with Maltina is not in stylus. We also have Zenith Bank, who have been our sponsors for the last 4 years, and you know what Zenith does on Ajose Adeogun. You know how Ajose Adeogun has become the, I don't know, Oxford Street of Lagos, you know, where everyone, even people who cannot afford a real holiday, get dressed in their Sunday best and go out there and take photos. I mean, they have parades going on there. We have carnivals. And so it's intentional when brands that are, you know, forward-thinking come together to present a beautiful way to give Africa a voice on the global map. And we take that partnership very seriously. And of course, everybody's making something financially out of it, but I can guarantee you that it's not the financial part of it that's a big deal for us. It's how the brands have emotionally connected with the audience and how we're actively selling what the beauty, the talent, the creativity of Africans to the world.
So this is a co-hotel, Maltina,
Zenith Bank.
Correct.
So just in closing.
Yes.
The dates. That's important. Yeah.
Right.
Tickets, just basic details. Like,
so we start off on the 20th. Our first family is checking on the 20th, and of course, for people who are there for 5 days, they check out on the 25th. But we have packages that are, you know, different packages, 5 days, 4 days, but checking in 20th, 22nd, 29th, and you know, the people staying on the long vacation. Packages are sold out already in terms of lodging in the hotel. We've just launched a few more rooms because we only want to take the amount of people that we can safely and securely manage. But we do have tickets, walk-in tickets and day passes, because we've now considered that there are people who might not be able to come and stay, find rooms to stay in the hotel, but still want to experience everything, you know, on a daily basis. We have ticketed events that are within, I don't know, 50,000, 30 to 50,000 per show. But for the value that you're getting, I'm sure that by the time you watch our shows, you'll be very willing to pay.
So, Jeffrey, if you're planning to lodge...
no, I can't lodge. I'm busy. I'm busy.
Jeffrey, you can't be too busy.
Yeah, I'm a journalist. We don't have holidays. We're essential service providers.
Okay, come in the evening, 6 o'clock, and watch a 2-hour show. At least
that works for us.
That also works to report the shows on the morning brief. It's something that we can also consider. But we must anchor at this point. And thank you so much, ladies, for coming on the program. Dr. Iyadonik Gbadebo is the Director, Sales and Marketing, Eco Hotel and Suites, Victoria Island, Lagos, and Mrs. Eloho Olumidiawe is the Portfolio Manager, Nigeria Breweries PLC, Igomo, Lagos. Beautiful ladies, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us. Thank you so much.
See you at Christmas.
Yes, yes, indeed. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
We'll take a short break. Meanwhile, before we maybe we'll not take that break, but we want you to see this video, and we'll be back in just a moment.
We have to send the Air Force and the military to deal with this particular insurrection, this threat to our own sense of security and equilibrium. No, there are easier ways of doing it. Let me tell you where Tinubu should have looked for forces to quell that insurrection. Right here in Lagos, right here, or in Abuja perhaps, I don't know. But there was no need to call the military or the Air Force. I'll tell you what happened. On one of my home visits, this is about 2 months ago, I was coming out of a hotel and I saw what looked like a film set. And I said, oh, they're shooting a film. That was on the grounds of this hotel. And the young man detached himself from the actors, came over, and greeted me, very polite, very nice young man. And I said, "Are you shooting somebody?" I said, "I'm just joking. Are you shooting a film?" He said, "No." And I looked around. There was nearly a whole battalion occupying the grounds of that hotel, in Ikoyi, right here. So I got back in my car, and I asked the driver who that young man was. And he told me. And I saw this SWAT team, a mixture. They were at least heavily armed, at least some 15 or so heavily armed to the teeth security personnel. Looked sufficient to take over a small country, neighboring city like Benin. And I think the next time the president should just call and say, "Sheyi, go and quell the rebellion over there." I was so astonished that I started looking for the national security advisor. I said, "Track him down for me." I think they got him somewhere in Paris, but I was with the president. He was at a meeting. And I said, "I've just seen something I can't believe, I don't understand." And I described the scene to him.
So it's a mix of, is it sarcasm? Is it really an advice? But clearly the point has been made, seeing the security deployment for the son of the president. Even the Nobel laureate, Professor Wole Soyinka, had to speak about it. So food for thought, guys. Food for thought.
Nothing to say. It's something that happens in our climb. It's abuse of power. It's as clear as crystal. It's just the son of the president. He has to be protected for a fact. But from the professor's record, I think that deployment was too much. But we're not surprised. Some people are not even sons of presidents. What they have as security is to shock you.
For someone who is considered the father of activism and literature in Nigeria, who endlessly criticized former President Goodluck Jonathan, I think this is coming a bit too late in the day. We need the Nobel laureate's voice on other critical issues in the country, not just a one-off. Well, that's my take.
Let's anchor.
Thank you. I'm Jeffrey Zama. Bye-bye.
Sunrise Daily is up next time. Bukola Keita.
And I'm Kayode Fikele.